Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about my experience taking a cooking class at Sur La Table. And yes, it's pronounced Sur La Table. Let's get into the experience and I'll tell you at the end how I felt about taking the class. Was it worth it or not? So a year ago, this time, I decided that I wanted to do a cooking class with Sur La Table. And I actually used to work for Sur La Table back in the day, seasonally. So I know a little bit about the store and what they sell. If you are unfamiliar with Sur La Table, it is like kind of what I would describe as a gourmet cooking store. They carry cookware, pots, pans, anything you would use for cooking or baking, they have it. They also have seasonal items. So when the holiday comes around, they have specific seasonal items that you can get, even like baking mixes and things like that. So back in January of last year, like I said, I decided I wanted to do something different. Instead of going on our usual date night, like dinner and a movie, I decided I wanted to do a cooking class. And if you are familiar with my channel, you know I like to cook. I'm learning how to bake, and these are things that I enjoy and I'm very passionate about. And when you're passionate about something, you will put in that extra effort to try to learn more about it. So that was my motivation for taking this class. I paid for the class online. I went through their website and paid for the class, and the class is taught in store. So they had this big kitchen area in the back of the store where they have cooktops and counter space for participants to come in and cook. The class is it's supposed to be led by a professionally trained chef, which this guy identified as, who led our class. And so what happened was, me and my husband came to the class. Come on time, because when we got there, I think we were like maybe 5 to 10 minutes late, and they were kind of already getting started. So they will start on time, at least in my experience. So make sure you come to the class on time. So when we came, the first thing they asked us to do was to wash our hands, which I can appreciate. Wash those hands, and we each got an apron. So we put on our apron, and then there was obviously two of us, my husband and I, and then we were paired with another couplet, which happened to be a grandmother and her granddaughter. They had their own counter space and their own materials, and we had ours. I believe for both of us to take the class, it may have been $90 to $100. It may have been $90 to $100, like 50 something dollars per person. Let me double check on that part. Okay, you all. So the class was $81.50 per person. So the total amount for both of us to attend the class was $163. And I'm going to tell you guys at the end if I think that was worth it. As we came into the class, we washed our hands. They gave us an apron. We had our own cooking area, like our own countertop space. We had our own ingredients. So everything that we would need to prepare our dishes was underneath the counter space on a tray. So they had, like, you know how people prepare their ingredients in like little bowls? That's what they had for us. They had the broccolini already in a bowl and all that stuff. So we each got our own like cutting board and utensils to use, but the cooktop space was shared. The class was called Touring Tuscany. So it is, or it was, Italian inspired, but it wasn't pasta. So what we ended up making for this class was Tuscan braised chicken, creamy Parmesan polenta, roasted broccolini with garlic and lemon, and blood orange sorbet. So just a heads up, each class is listed on their website as being 120 to 180 minutes. Class is pretty much 2 hours, and I think we used exactly the amount of allotted time that we had. So they do break the class up. So you'll do cooking. In the middle, you'll have a break, and they give you an opportunity to go into the store and look around and shop. And then you do get like maybe a 20% discount on any goods that you purchase because you purchased the class, which was all right. I ended up purchasing something during that time, something small. And so that is something they do during the class. And then after they give everybody like a bathroom break, a break to purchase some stuff, you'll come back and do the second half of the class. So the menu looked pretty good to me when I looked at it online. So I was like, okay, let's do that one. Our class started around 4 p.m. and the class times do vary. So if you wanted to do like early afternoon, evening, they had different options available for that as well. So once we got settled in, we did have a chef leading the class. He was giving us step-by-step instructions that we were following all together as a class. And it was maybe about, I don't know, I'd say like 15 to 20 people in that class. He gave us step-by-step instructions. Okay, so now we're going to do this, and this is what you want to do and why. He would explain the rationale behind things. Like, for instance, we cooked the chicken in one of those like Dutch ovens. And so we cooked it a little bit on the cooktop, and then we put like the sauce and everything inside, and then the chicken went into the oven. And he explained how braising helps to make the meat more tender and things like that. He did explain also, we used like some kosher salt, and he explained why the kosher salt is better than the regular ionized salt that we use. So there was explanation to things and step-by-step instructions, which I thought was good. Pretty much we just cooked everything in order. So we started with the chicken, right? Very basic things that we were cooking and very basic flavor combinations. It was nothing out of this world where you were like, ooh, you know, this is really crazy, like flavor profiles. Nah. We did chicken, and it had like a red sauce to it. I'm gonna insert some pictures. We did chicken, it had like a red sauce to it. Then we did broccolini. I was not too familiar with broccolini, to be honest. I know of broccoli, but broccolini is pretty much like a long broccoli. Okay? That's all it is. That's all it is. Let's keep it honest. And then we did polenta. I wasn't familiar with polenta either. I don't think my parents have ever cooked polenta, nor have I. So I wasn't familiar with that. But what I could describe it as is kind of similar to grits. The consistency, the texture, the taste. It was a little bit more, it was pretty much like the consistency of grits. And I think it's made out of the same thing. I think it's made out of cornmeal. So you eat it as a side dish with the chicken. And when we finished, I did eat that chicken with the polenta and the broccoli, and it was quite tasty. It's a very mild flavor. My husband's Kenyan, and they make ugali, so it's kind of similar to that. If I could describe it to if I could compare it to a couple of things. Let me talk about the instructor. The instructor, I know everybody's different, but the instructor had like a really dry personality to where he just wasn't fun. Like he wasn't He didn't seem like joyful. He didn't seem like, he was just kind of flat. He wasn't rude, but he wanted you to listen to what he was saying and follow his directions. So if you weren't doing it, he would call you out. But he was all right. He was all right. His personality was kind of dry. I ain't gonna lie. When you're working with people, you gotta kind of be like a people person. Especially when this is something that's what we would call in school, like elective. This is not a necessity. Like, people are doing this for fun. They're doing it to spend time together and enjoy the class. So he was a little dry, but I will say that I learned a couple of things. I had never made sorbet before. Everything that we made in the class, the chicken, the polenta, the broccolini, we prepared it ourselves all together. So all four of us took turns, like stirring, chopping, and we would say, okay, hey, we would communicate with our partners there on the other side. Hey, do you want to do this? Do you want to take control of chopping this? And do you want to take control of seasoning it? And so we would just take turns like that. It's just, you have to be open to communication if you're going to do that class, and open to working with other people. Luckily, we were blessed to have our partners were like this sweet older lady and her granddaughter. And I think her granddaughter had just came down from college, and they were looking to spend some time together. So they were very nice. They were both very nice. And the old lady was hilarious. So having my husband there, having them work with us, they weren't stuck up, they weren't snooty. They were very inviting and pleasant to be around with. And that made the class more fun, especially since the instructor was dry. So we went through the whole process of cooking everything. The only thing they did not allow us to cook or really put together that are like that was the sorbet. They had some type of machine that they used. They said they used to make the sorbet, and they kind of made it for us for the most part. The sorbet was good. Let's talk about the taste of everything. So the chicken with the red sauce, it was like a tomato-based sauce, was really good. The polenta was good. The broccolini was good. And the orange sorbet was delicious. I don't eat sorbet too much, and it was delicious. I didn't have any complaints, because me being someone that likes to cook and that likes to eat, I was like, oh, I am in my element right now. I'm in my element. Like, I got to cook and I got to eat it afterwards. So my favorite part was definitely getting to enjoy the fruits of our labor at the end. And we all had a plate. We divvied out our food to 1, 2, 3, 4, each of us. And we just sat there. They gave us utensils, plates. We ate. I enjoyed it. I ate everything. I'm not gonna lie. It was good. It was tasty. Now, was it the best food I've ever tasted? No, but it was delicious. So I would probably rate the food, if I had to rate the food, a 7 out of 10. It was very good. Cleared my plate, cleared. And so that was that. And getting to make something that was good, that I never made before, it gave me ideas for meals, exposed me to new ingredients or side dishes that I never used before that I could use in the future. I also took in some of the tips from the chef. So $163 for a date night. It's not too bad. I mean, sometimes when you go to some of these restaurants and then you go somewhere else, you're going to spend more than that. So when I think about it in that respect, it wasn't that bad. Now, would I take this particular class again? Probably not, because I don't feel like I got enough out of it to justify the cost. But would I take another cooking class? Absolutely. I'm definitely interested in taking pasta making, because I want to learn how to make pasta from scratch, or even I saw one for knife skills. learning how to chop more efficiently when I'm in the kitchen and dice and all those things. I would love a class like that. And I think because that's something that I would take with me into my kitchen and use it more than the basic dishes that we prepared, I think it would be more worth it. So would I take this class again? Yes. Do I think it was worth it? Yes. It's a little pricey, but again, in comparison to what you would spend for a regular date night, it's not that pricey. So, and it's something different outside of the box, like I said. So overall, the class went well. I enjoyed the class. I do think it's worth it. Just pick the class based on what you think you would enjoy the most and the class that you think would benefit you the most with your cooking skills. And I saw when I looked at my old receipt that they do have Zoom classes as well. You just have to purchase the ingredients before class, and I'm sure they send out an email. Having as many people in the kitchen as you want, and you can even do it from your home. That would be the perfect like friend or family activity to do, something outside of the box. So yes, I would take the class again, a different class. I do think it's worth it for the price, and I very much so enjoyed it. If you guys have any more questions about the class, what it was like and my experience, you can ask down below in the comments. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video.